So we finally arrived at our next attempt to make a good video game movie that pays tribute to the source material while actually adapting itself into a good movie. Video games have probably had the roughest patch in this long, disappointing road of mediocre movie adaptations that completely missed the point of what made the source material so iconic and special. Let's just name a couple for fun. We've had the Mortal Kombat movie, Silent Hill, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, Uncharted, Doom, Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider, Max Payne, World of Warcraft. Yeah, there's a lot of hilariously bad video game movies out there, and they're mostly all agreed to be fucking vile abominations that make our favourite hobby look like a joke. But for every shitty Resident Evil movie, we get a Sonic the Hedgehog. For every bad Silent Hill reboot, we get a Last of Us TV show. And for every bad Uncharted movie, well, we get a Super Mario movie. Okay, so let's first start with the performances. The performances are all excellent, with each actor portraying their character in such a unique and interesting way that adds so much personality and depth to their roles. However, some actors are just kind of foaming it in, and you can kind of tell, like Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, who puts no effort into doing a voice, which kind of just pulls me out the experience. I'd like it if these actors tried to portray a voice sometimes, but it's still good what he did with the role. The soundtrack is probably the most fun and engaging part of the movie when it comes to finding all these little Easter eggs. So many leitmotifs and subtle audio cues will just make you question what game you heard that from. Even some of the most underrated Mario, Luigi, and Donkey Kong games have audio and musical references for you die-hard fans to enjoy. I believe there was like 20 throughout the entire movie where I just stopped and just listened. I was like, oh my god, I remember what game that was from. And you'll have these moments as well, guys. It's 100% worth it. Not to mention the visuals. The visuals are by far one of the most impressive areas of the movie. Illumination has always had this generic animation art style that feels very bland, and it feels like not a lot of love or care is put into it. However, they brought their A game for this movie because everything here looks awe-inspiring. There's an insane amount of attention to detail to all the tiniest little things. And the water looks really good, dude. Oh my god. The character designs are all accurate and faithful, with every character, enemy, or cameo from the Super Mario Cinematic Universe looking extremely expressive and realistic in this universe. I have no idea how Illumination managed to make the facial animations so dynamic and expressive, because this really adds a lot to some of this quite frankly bland voice delivery from some of the cast members here, like Seth Rogen. Maybe the biggest selling point in this movie are all the Easter eggs. There are so many Easter eggs in this movie that vary from audio cues like we discussed earlier, cameos from all sorts of Nintendo IPs, there's all sorts of different suits, Mario worlds, and even references to other games like Luigi's Mansion. There's a lot for the fans to digest here, and we'll probably take at least 2 viewings to find everything. So if you guys are looking for some replay value, you're going to be watching this movie a ton if you're a Nintendo fan. You're going to love this thing. My last big positive is that this movie is the very definition of short and sweet. Thankfully, it doesn't overstay its welcome and has a runtime of around 90 minutes, which feels perfect for this kind of adventure. Because of the overall simple nature of the plot and the overall fun progression of the narrative, the pacing is consistently engaging and will keep you thoroughly entertained throughout the entire experience. I was never bored once, and this was probably one of my worst cinema fucking experiences, because there were at least 5 girls on their Instagram, and despite how many DMs I was seeing on these phones, I was still invested in everything I was watching, and my immersion was rarely broken, which, oh man, I can't say that for a lot of movies, so that's definitely something. Okay, so there are unfortunately a couple negatives that hold this movie back from being as good compared to those great adaptations we mentioned in the beginning. My first big criticism, and the one almost everyone can agree with in all the reviews I've seen anyway, is the licensed songs that play over some montages and sequences. All of these feel so out of place and completely detract from the scenes and honestly ruin some of them. What's baffling is the Mario IP probably has some of the most iconic and recognizable tracks in not just gaming but in any medium, which would probably enhance these scenes and make them feel even more awesome and badass. The songs they chose are just hilariously bad and generic, sometimes bordering on parody, which sucked me out of the movie every time a song played. For some reason, they also decided to butcher some of these characters, and kind of ruin them in a way. Peach is now just a generic Mary Sue who has no imperfections and is good at pretty much everything. This is kind of a personal nitpick because I'm just so sick and tired of female characters getting this forced boss bitch personality. It makes these characters feel 10 times more unlikable, and in most cases, like The Last of Us 2 or Star Wars, it really bothers me. However, the Mario movie did this character in a much more respectful way, so I have to give credit that they at least tried to make Peach likable, and not some "Yes, Queen Slay, you don't need no Mario to beat these simps." Oh, by the way, let's just touch on Bowser real quick. Bowser is now just some pathetic 4chan simp who desperately wants to get with the Princess Peach, which is just so cringe. Every scene with him is just either getting jealous at Mario and Peach's relationship, singing about her on his Yamaha piano in his fucking man cave, or going over romantic scenarios with his strange manservant. I really wanted Bowser to be some kind of tyrant who sought world domination, someone who was just so hilariously evil and just wanted to rule the Mushroom Kingdom. I felt that would have been a lot more fun and interesting compared to what we got, because what we got is just a running gag that gets old real quick and feels like wasted potential for a cool villain. My last big criticism is the very disposable nature of this movie. You'll probably forget about this the second you leave the theatre. There's no big character arcs to get invested in. The story is really bare bones. There's no morals or lessons, just a really fun movie with tons of Easter eggs and fan service to look for. So if that sounds like your kind of movie, man, go ahead and please have fun. But if you're looking for something a bit more than that, you ain't gonna get it here, okay? So just set your expectations. For those very minor reasons, I believe this movie feels very forgettable, and not the magnum opus I thought this was going to be for Illumination. I'm hoping in the future we'll get more Nintendo movies and maybe a cinematic universe, which I'd be so down for. However, we'll just have to wait and see. Like, can you imagine, alright, we set up a bunch of Nintendo IPs, we get Metroid movie, Pikmin movie, I don't know, Ice Climbers movie, I like the Ice Climbers, I'm like one of the 7 people in the world, and I don't know, a Yoshi movie, a Luigi movie, and we combine them all and we have a Super Smash Bros. Tournament where we have all Nintendo characters fight each other to see who will win and save the world of light. Like, guys, can you imagine if that movie got made? Please, come on, let's do this right now. We'll have a Mortal Kombat tournament for Smash characters. Despite being an excellent disappointment, it was still a really fun time, and I highly recommend you guys go out and support it, even if it means we get more Nintendo movies in the future. The score for this movie is quite simple, it's a 7 out of 10. It was a personal disappointment, and I felt the overall experience to be kinda lackluster. Thanks for watching, guys. At the time of recording, there's a lot of controversy surrounding this movie. I only just figured this out. The critics and the fans are kind of debating whether you should go out and see this. Personally, dude, fuck the both of them. Just go out, decide for yourselves, and ultimately, you are going to enjoy this movie. Fan or not, you're going to have a good time watching this. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, and also leave a subscribe. We're nearly at 200 subscribers, guys. Help me reach that milestone, I'm begging you. If you watched the movie, hope you have a good time, and have a nice day, guys. Take care.